I'm Kate Ward, and this is your Dickman Farms Smart Gardening Tip. And what's so smart about this gardening tip? Well, a little bit of everything. We're talking herbs today. And on these different herbs, you might choose to fresh use them, you could dry them, you could put them in salads, you can put them on the grill, you can use them as a marinade and chuck them out like a bouquet garnier, all sorts of things. But there's a couple practical tips when you're growing different types of herbs that we're going to run through to make you more successful. Now, in general, herbs don't like the best soil you ever had, so keep that in mind. You know, a lot of these are places that they dry down, they have rocky soil, so you really don't want to enrich the soil too much. They really do like to be warmer, drier. Full sun is where you want to plant these if you're in a pot or in the ground, either way. So after that, then most of them, we don't want to let them go to flower. All of them will act as good pollinators if they do go to flower, but a lot of the time when a plant goes to flower, it puts that energy into flowering and not necessarily into leaf production, which for the most of herbs is what we use. Sometimes some of the herbs are used for their seeds and flowers, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But for the most part, if you see flowers forming, we want to go ahead and take them off. Could you use these things in a salad per se for a little extra flavor? Sure could, but when they get big, again, that energy goes to the flowers, not the leaves, which is what we want. So we're here in amongst the different dills. This is a Thai dill, and over here is your regular lettuce leaf dill or Genovese dill. A lot used here in fresh green salads and in pasta. So Italian dishes. Over here, we use these in the sort of Indian cuisines, and again, it's Thai basil, so Taiwanese cuisines, we use this a lot. Now, when you're talking basils, the thing to know is they're actually quite big. So when you use them, you can see here, we talked about pruning before, or pinching. Here is an internode, this long piece, and a node. We want to go down to and use the piece above that node. So we're going to use this, and it's going to cause this to branch and grow for us. So again, we would use this. These are going to grow out. So we always have a fresh supply. Very rarely are we taking it right off at the base, but sometimes we do. So that's how you treat basils. Same thing goes with dill. Dill, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just use these fronds here. That's what you're going to use, and a lot of time used in potato salad and that kind of thing. Again, that energy goes into that flower, so if we can get rid of that flower and the seed, we'll have fresh green leaves longer to use. Also a good thing about dill, swallowtail butterflies, if you tend to have a garden, if you want to put them in the veggie garden or out, they'll find them, and you might have to share your dill with caterpillars, but you'll have beautiful butterflies, so just know that about it. Other things we have here, lavender is an herb. Sometimes people use it in like lavender cookies and things like that. Wonderful fragrance. The basil, often used to help repel mosquitoes, believe it or not. Also anything with lemon, we'll come up to that in a moment. But good there, you can use it for sachets. I come across cilantro here. Now cilantro, when it goes to seed, is called coriander. The seeds are coriander. Now, also, if you go all the way to seed and you let it drop, you will have a pile of coriander / cilantro the next year, so just know that. It happily goes to seed. While it's not a perennial, it happily comes back. And this you're going to use, actually, the majority of these plants. So you really are going to pick off a majority of these to use, just like you would parsley. All right, so that's a little know-how about these. Backing up, you get to chives. Now here, chives are wonderful. They give, again, a lot of potato salads use chives, a lot of fresh roasting. You can throw them in near the end. It's a more delicate flavor. But chives are perennial. So if you had a spot you could let this grow, you can get these to come back every year. It's got a pretty purple flower on it. Also edible, but you know, if you want to eat oniony flavor, go for it. Parsley, two different types here. Curly leaf and flat leaf Italian parsley. Slightly different flavors between the two. The flat leaf is a little bit stronger, so works well in cooking. It doesn't lose its flavor quite so much. More pungent flavor there. Again, that swallowtail butterfly we talked about likes these plants. You can sometimes get good bugs to come inhabit. This is my favorite section. Why? This is mojito mint. That's right, mojitos. Everybody know those for summer? This is the mint that's used for muddling in those drinks. You actually, again, use the same thing. It is likely to be a perennial, so mints will be quite aggressive in the ground. But again, we're gonna use that same way. Internode, we use this top. We'll get these to grow here. And this is what they muddle. So to muddle is when you kind of smash it on the bottom of it and it releases the flavor. But there's also spearmints that can be used. Again, they add a brightness to salads and drinks and things like that. There's chocolate mint. Here's one that works as a great house plant. We have bay leaf here. Bay leaf, you actually use this leaf. That's what you use. You cook it in stews and that kind of thing. You really want to bring it in. It is not at all happy about being out. But don't keep it too dry. It is a woody, shrubby kind of critter. Next to it, we talked about lemon. That is actually lemon balm or lemon grass. It works great as a great ornamental grass. Good in cooking, again, for that lemony flavor, but wonderful for keeping away mosquitoes in with your citronella and that kind of plant. We just have a couple more right back here. We have thyme. Again, we're into perennials. Some of these herbs can be perennial. They'll come up year after year. Creeping garden thyme, great for a little in the garden and off we go. And finally, down here, the sages. Again, nice plant, good purple color, works well in the garden. You'll get the flowers that the beneficials love. We're using these pieces again, wonderful for dried. So that's just been a quick run through of some of the different plants or herbs that we have here at the garden center, where and how you might use them to put together beautiful bouquets, dry them out in the sun. Well, actually in a cool, dry area where it isn't in the sun. I lied, because the sun can bleach them out a little bit and we don't want to lose those flavors. But do all that, then store them up so you have them not only now, but in this winter. And you can remember the warm days of summer. See you soon.